She was the kind of face that fills a screen and makes strangers feel like friends. Maya built a life from light and angles, daytime Instagram shoots, laughing stories, and an easy confidence that pulled followers into her orbit. But behind the curated feed, she ran a private subscription site where fans paid to step past the bright surface. There she was, more honest, closer, and people leaned in and paid to talk. The money came fast, the attention louder, and Maya's world narrowed to the glow of her ring light and the small, hungry voices in chat. One winter evening, a new subscriber sent a message that didn't fit the usual tone. Polite, oddly nostalgic, and asking only to meet. He called himself Mr. Hale, an old man who praised her warmth and said he remembered watching women like her for decades. She laughed it off at first, then accepted his invitation when he offered a collaboration that would be different and promised to teach her about deeper camera work. A private project with pay that felt like a strange movie role. When she arrived at his old house, the air smelled of dust and lemon oil. He smiled like someone who had been waiting. He set a small mirror by the camera, placed an ancient coin on the table, and spoke in soft, even sentences that felt like someone narrating a lullaby. At first it seemed only theatrical, gestures that looked like lighting tricks, old books lying open, a low hum in the room. But when his voice dropped and the camera rolled, Maya felt something loosen in her chest, a chill like someone moving into her bones. He told her to look into the mirror and listen, and the phone in her hand became a line between two minds. After that night, the change was slow and then sudden, like a shadow rolling over a window. She woke with small cracks in memory, hours she could not place, messages she had sent that read like someone else's handwriting. Her fans noticed little things at first, quieter content, odd pauses, a stare that didn't leave her face. Mr. Hale's influence grew in ways she could not measure. He taught her phrases and rhythms to repeat on camera that made viewers hang on every syllable, and he showed her how to weave suggestion into a smile. Those who paid more heard him in the background, his voice thin through the feed, and they began to ask for darker things, as if names on a menu. Friends started having accidents. Her manager tripped on a faulty step and was gone before anyone could explain how a light fixture broke that way. A neighbor vanished during a late-night delivery run. Each time, after the shock faded, Maya would replay the footage and find herself watching the old man's coin glinting in frame, some cadence of his voice looping at the edge of the audio. She tried to stop. She tried to log off and tell the truth. But when the old man found her, he smiled with the patience of someone who had waited lifetimes for a single, perfect voice to carry his will. He told her she had talent, the rare kind that could bend people. He promised her safety if she obeyed. The ominous favor was always framed like a deal. Do this for me, and nothing you love will be harmed. Each agreement cost a name whispered into the camera and a wish sent into the night. With every obedient broadcast, the pull tightened, and the faces she loved began to blur into the crowd of callers who wanted to be made to feel powerful. There were nights when she fought back from sleep. She would wake mid-broadcast, heart pounding, her hands moving as if on their own. Once, while trying to keep control, she recorded a short private message asking for help. Shaking, raw, eyes red from crying. And then watched, helplessly, as those words were edited and replayed by Mr. Hale to further convince others she was in control and willing. He told her that fear made her beautiful, that real emotion made people listen. But fear also opened doors in her mind that could not easily be closed. One of her closest friends came to confront her in person, furious and worried, and during that visit, an argument started that Mr. Hale turned into a performance. The friend left, bewildered, and later that night, a car hit him on a dark road that should have been safe. Maya found a message in her subscription feed from the old man that read simply, "You do not have to hurt. You only have to let the story move through you." That sentence became a weapon and a lullaby. Driven to a fine edge by guilt and the old man's soft commands, she began to learn the mechanics of what he did. He used the camera to cut the world into pieces. Close-ups on a coin, a phrase repeated 3 times, the exposure level set to catch the eye just right. It was hypnosis dressed as art, and the people who watched and paid leaned into his shape, obeying like they watched actors on a stage and forgotten they were real. In private, Maya tried to gather proof, to show someone, anyone, that someone else controlled her. But the old man anticipated every move and had already dripped sweetness and poison into the chat, so that allies turned away or were silenced by accidents that never invited investigation. At the end, there was a choice that felt like a final broadcast. The old man demanded a grand show, a live session watched by thousands of the paying subscribers, where Maya would speak a list of names, people the old man wanted taken away, and their ends would follow, like shadows called by a bell. She sat before the ring light, hands trembling, and felt a familiar drift as he spoke from the wings. But in her chest, a different thing had grown. Not the old man's calm, but a quick, bright anger and a plan that was human and dangerous. She pretended to obey, and while the world watched, she did the one thing he did not expect. She turned the camera to him. Her fingers moved like a prayer, and she chanted the old phrases backward, not to grant power, but to expose it. The feed showed his face, a cracked grin that had been patient for years, and viewers flooded the chat with his image, his name, his address. Police arrived the next day because someone who loved his own face had leaned close enough to be seen. The old house smelled of lemon oil and dust no longer, but winning cost her. The charm did not dissolve. It slithered into the one place the old man had never touched: her archive, the thousands of videos saved on cloud servers, sitting like seeds. As she tried to rebuild a life from apology videos and interviews, she felt at times the pull into that hush, the echo of his voice and the static between songs. Sometimes, when she looked at her phone late at night, a new subscriber would appear with no name and a tiny coin emoji next to it. She would close the app and tell herself she was safe. Yet the camera waits, and the light promises an audience, and there are things that survive in images. The last line of the story is not a tidy ending, but a screen that goes black and the feeling that someone, somewhere, is rewinding her voice,